Audiences were being treated to groundbreaking films like The Matrix, stylish crime classics like Pulp Fiction, and blockbuster spectacles like Independence Day. But while those movies were changing action and science fiction, another genre was quietly preparing for a comeback. The raunchy comedy. By the mid-90s, the sex comedies that had thrived in the 1980s seemed to be fading away. Studios were moving towards safer projects, and audiences weren't seeing many bold comedy risks. Then came There's Something About Mary. Directed by the Farrelly brothers, the film follows Ted, played by Ben Stiller, a man who never got over his high school crush, Mary. Years later, still obsessed with what could have been, hires a private investigator to track her down. But things quickly spiral out of control. The investigator, played by Matt Dillon, meets Mary and immediately falls for her himself. What starts as a simple search turns into a hilarious battle of lies, misunderstandings, and desperate attempts to win Mary's affection. At its core, it's a romantic comedy. But surrounding that romance is some of the most outrageous humor audiences had ever seen in a mainstream movie. The film became famous for pushing boundaries in ways that Hollywood rarely dared to attempt at the time. Since that shocked audiences also had theaters erupting with laughter. The movie wasn't just edgy, it was fearless. And that fearlessness made it unforgettable. What made There's Something About Mary stand out wasn't just the outrageous comedy. Beneath all the chaos, the movie had a surprisingly genuine heart. Ted's journey is something many people can relate to. He's chasing the memory of a perfect relationship that never happened. He's holding onto the idea that reconnecting with Mary might somehow complete his life. It's funny, a WK word, and often ridiculous. But it's also deeply human. The film explores rejection, insecurity, hope, and the universal desire to find someone who truly understands you. That's what gave the movie lasting power. When the film was released, audiences couldn't stop talking about it. People quoted its jokes, debated its wildest scenes, and recommended it to friends. Word of mouth turned the movie into a phenomenon. Critics praised its unique balance of outrageous comedy and genuine emotion, while fans embraced it as one of the funniest films ever made. More importantly, Hollywood noticed. Studios suddenly realized that audiences were ready for R-rated comedies again. The success of There's Something About Mary paved the way for future hits, including American Pie and countless comedies that followed throughout the next decade. More than 25 years later, There's Something About Mary remains a comedy landmark. Not because it was the most romantic film of its era. Not because it had the biggest budget. But because it dared to be different. It took risks that few mainstream movies were willing to take, mixed outrageous humor with genuine heart, and helped revive an entire genre in the process.